Joy News, and you're watching News Today with me, Kemini Nyamani. I'm on the top of the news this afternoon. Survivors of Malcolm disaster expressed disappointment in authorities a year after disaster claimed 14 lives. We'll be telling you why. Also ahead, President of Imani, Ghana, calls on government to publish details of the contract for the 5,000-unit affordable housing project. Also to come, Nigerian President Goodluck Jonathan extends ongoing state of emergency in Adamawa, Borno, and Yobe states by additional 6 months. Stay on, I'll bring you details of these stories and plenty more in a moment. This is News Today. Now, November 7, which is today, marks the first anniversary of the Malcolm disaster, which claimed 14 lives and injuring many others. The building, which houses the shopping center, collapsed that fateful morning on shop attendants and early morning shoppers, trapping several of them for days. The collapse of the 5-story Achimota Malcolm shopping center was an undesirable blow that came upon the country. Let's take a look at the day of the disaster and the following report.
The building caved in 9:30 in the morning of Wednesday, November 7, according to the first victim pulled out alive by some residents who had to rush to the scene. The victim, who is the staff of Malcolm, appeared disoriented and aggressive and refused to be taken into an ambulance. He told reporters he and his colleagues were having a morning devotion when the 6-story building suddenly collapsed. Information Joy News gathered indicated the shop had not yet been opened to the public when the incident occurred. He told reporters he saw cracks on some pillars of the phone section where he was stationed and notified one of the managers 3 days before the incident. The joint security rescue efforts appeared disorganized at the start as security forces, volunteer rescue workers, as well as onlookers differed in ideas on how the rescue operation should be tackled. By late morning, a teeming crowd had moved close to the site, disrupting rescue operations. The police had a tough controlling the crowd until military reinforcement was called in to instill discipline and move the crowd across the street. The joint security rescue effort on Wednesday included the police, fire service, army, National Ambulance Service, NADMO and Sanitation Task Force. Corporate bodies such as Guinness, Ghana Limited, Chinese Construction, Mukazo Contracting and ARG Africa Engineers brought in excavators and other equipment to help in the rescue mission. By mid-afternoon, rescue workers had managed to go inside the rubble through a hole to get some victims out. Victims were immediately whisked to the hospital in ambulances after being rescued. In an interview with Joy News, Malcolm Chief Operating Officer Arvinder Singh indicated the building was rented and Malcolm would not hesitate to bring a lawsuit against owner of the building. Arvinder Singh was not sure of the number of persons in the building when it caved in.
Our staff was about 50. Then there was some work going on of some external laborers. They don't clock into our machines. There was some internal renovation going on. So I'm not sure how many laborers had come on today. We are the only tenants. We had signed an agreement. I have given a copy of the agreement to the AMA boss.
No one really could tell the number of persons in the building when it collapsed. Greater Accra Regional Commander Patrick Timbila also told Joy News one Indian manager was among the victims rescued and taken to the hospital.
There are 2 managers, one Indian, one black. The Indian has been rescued. The attendance book has been trapped also. Meanwhile, we have rescued 57, one dead. That means the number is small. So they are saying their complement or strength is 50. But they were saying some woman and a daughter or so, a child, are inside.
Brother of Alice Atiso, one of the victims on Wednesday night, said his sister could not be located in any of the hospitals and he believed she was still trapped.
Here since morning, all people that are trapped in, coming out, I can't find my sister among them. And I've sent people to all various hospitals and they've come back that they can't find her anywhere. In the morning when we call, the phone was ringing, but nobody was picking it. After 1 hour, it was off.
Sadly, Alice was rescued but did not survive. In an interview with Hassan Ayariga, he lamented, describing the construction of the building as a shoddy job.
Looking at the situation now, you can see that the building itself is shoddy work. Look at the pillar over there. You can see there's no iron rods there. There are no concrete, proper cement there. That means that the owner of this building really did very, very shoddy work, and this is the cost that we are seeing today. I think that we must appreciate the people here working very hard to rescue the people out there in there. To be very honest, what I've seen here is that they do not have the necessary equipment to be able to do the work. Many of them are willing to do the work, but as of now, you can see that they are struggling with the little equipment they have.
He wants to see those responsible punished for such gross negligence that had claimed many lives. The President, John Mahama, Vice President Kwesi Emisa Asa, Yekora Mayor Alfred Oko Vanderpoy, Trade and Industry Minister Hannah Tete, MPP Vice Presidential Candidate Muhammadu Bawumia, PNC Presidential Candidate Hassan Ayariga, and Interior Minister William Obua visited the site on Wednesday to assess the situation.
That was a year ago, and now we've been asking what has changed, who's been brought to book for this, and more importantly, how have the victims moved on? Joy News spoke to some survivors.
Life is good by the grace of God. I had an injury at my knee, so the doctor told me that I have a peroneal nerve injury, so I cannot walk for a long distance. Yes. So I'm struggling with one of my leg. Anytime I walk for a long distance, I feel pain at my hip.
They told me I should come back and work for them, but then what happened there, it keep on flashing back, and I don't think I can work with them again. That's why I told them I can't work with them.
And now you're...
That morning before the disaster happened, I was WhatsApping with my manager, the late Gerald Sayakoto Behene. I was WhatsApping with him before the incident happened. It was a sudden thing though. Nobody had ever thought a building like this would collapse.
It keeps coming back. I'm so surprised that up to now I can't just forget about it and move on with my life. You know, anytime there's light out, I can't be in the house alone. Somebody has to be around me. I tried it just to be on my own, and I was with one guy that we live in the same house. He is in his room and we'll be chatting. So just imagine, you know, and I'm surprised the way the whole country just go to bed about this issue.
Now it's 9:45 a.m., the exact time the building caved in last year. Staff observed a minute's silence for victims of the disaster at the Melcom Plus at industrial area in Accra. Communications Director of Melcom, Godwin Avonogbo, tells Joy News it has been a tough year for the company as well as survivors of the tragedy.
It's a difficult moment because there was so much to do. The injured, their compensation, their medical treatment, and so on and so forth. Even the dead, going through the paperwork and getting the medical authorities to relate with the labor department and the courts and so on to find genuine survivors and next of kin for these payments to be done. And the company has to issue checks to settle all that. through the Labour Commission. It's been a lot of work. In addition to that, you find that it's a building that collapsed. The question is, so how safe are buildings where Malcolm does business? So we have engaged structural engineers to go and test every building where we operate our business.
Now, in finding answers to our many questions as to what lessons we may have learned, joining us over the telephone is a quantity surveyor, I'll say Asante. He is also former president of the Ghana Institute of Engineers. Hello, sir. Hello, many thanks for joining us on News Today.
Yeah, good afternoon and many thanks too.
Right. Now let's look at the building industry. A year after this, we all recall, how we went back and forth about how a lot of, contractors were not adhering to building standards. What has changed a year on?
First, let me extend a good afternoon to all listeners. And second, let me make a correction here.
Right.
I am a past president of the Ghana Institution of Surveyors.
Institution, right.
Of Surveyors,
right.
Not engineers.
Right.
Yes. Now, you are asking about the construction industry in Ghana?
Yes.
And a year on after the Malcolm disaster?
Absolutely.
Am I right?
Yes.
Nothing has changed.
So
as simple as that.
And we haven't learned any lessons from this?
Have we? I don't think so. I don't think we have learned any lessons. Neither have we put into place the mechanism to forestall any future disasters. Because I've been in the industry and I haven't seen anything and I haven't heard anything, apart from the various talk shops that we are moving on.
Right.
We have not concretized our talking into action plans and putting structures in place. There's nothing like that.
I'm going to have you host the line. We'll talk about what we should have learned that we haven't done that. But Anaya Akwada is Executive Director for the Bureau of Public Safety. He's joining us via Skype. Hello, Nana.
Hi, good afternoon to your listeners and your viewers.
Absolutely. Nana, you were the Bureau of Public Safety. I remember that we had an interview at how you told us how we were not adhering to all the safety measures that we were supposed to adhere to, especially when it comes to public buildings. A year on, what have we changed about ourselves?
Well, I sadly want to extend condolences to those who perished, the families of those who perished in that unfortunate incident. And a year on, I think that as a nation, collectively, we have failed to pay deserving tribute to those who lost their lives in this instance by not taking any action, any concrete action whatsoever, first of all, regarding the very incident that took place, and then generally, as it were, making or forming policy decisions out of the Malcolm incident. You see, it was indicative of a system lapse. It was indicative of something wrong within the system. And if over 300 days on, as a nation, we have not done anything about it, it leaves a cause for worry, a very deep one that as a nation we need to be worried about.
Nana, why do you think we haven't, picked up any lessons from this?
Well, generally, I most often I hate to do this, but generally we are looking at ineptitude and acquiescence of leadership to issues of public safety. We live in a country where city authorities don't get prosecuted, or people in high offices who are supposed to oversee the general public safety of citizenry lapse on their job, and nothing happens to them. They are not prosecuted. The laws that allow the city authorities to halt illegal development, to inspect ongoing projects, and so on, and ensure that due process is done, it's not done. They have even powers to evacuate buildings that they think or they deem unsafe for the public, but they all sit aloof and nobody does anything. And so in many days or some few days to come, we are going to have a lot more of Melcom on our hands, unfortunately. Look, I live in Tema. The Kaiser Flat in Tema at Committee 4 was declared inhabitable several years ago. But as I speak with you today, even after Melcom, nobody has found the need to go and ensure that that building is not habited. Nobody has moved in to ensure that they secure the integrity of the structure, and yet there are people living in, and one day this building may come down and it becomes another major national disaster. And I believe we shall all be here, God forbid, if I'm not a passerby there to engage a rabble, we'll probably be here and be talking about Kaiser Flat in the next few days. That is most unfortunate.
It's unfortunate indeed. Nana, please hold the line. Earlier we were talking to Osei Asante, who is a former president of the Ghana Institution of Surveyors. Osei, so I was asking you, if we haven't learnt anything, what were the lessons we were supposed to have picked from this?
Yes, first and foremost, you realize that the construction industry in Ghana is bedeviled with a lot of problems. First and foremost, you must know that as an industry that is bedeviled with fraud, bedeviled with greed, cheating, and as Nana said earlier on, there's a lot of disorderly development in this country. We haven't solved our land dedications and the conflicts and the land gas systems. And at the tail end of it, we have shoddy construction going on without any check. And the first lesson that we haven't learned is that the construction industry plays an indispensable role in the Ghanaian economy in providing the necessary and enabling physical and infrastructure, which is very fundamental to the country's development. And that is where we must start from. There's a lot of instability in this industry. The structural problems they are so interconnected, they have not been resolved. Okay?
Right.
We haven't realized that the industry is project specific. And so all these are there. And instead of thinking properly and putting things together to put a regulator into the system, we have failed to do that. Everybody does what he wants. And that is the unfortunate aspect of our life. And like Nana said, we have ready-made Melcom disasters on our hands. And it's a question of time for them to happen. Unfortunately, I'm not a prophet of doom, but if we don't put our act together, my sister, we stand in we are on course to disaster.
You're a quantity surveyor. Yep. What must we do when we want to put up buildings? It's not too late to learn a lesson or two. What must we do?
I am an ardent believer in the idea that we should have a construction industry regulator. A regulator that will exude the issues, the risk associated with the nature of construction of place. A regulator that can bring to bear quality, productivity, health, safety, environmental outcome. And then, above all, we are a poor country, value for money to the Ghanaian society. And you need a regulator to enforce all these things. There are risks in this construction industry, a lot of it. And the key issue is leadership. And it is a regulator that can provide that leadership. Until we do that, my sister, we may have to forget about some of these things. People build anyhow. I've given you the 4 thematic areas.
Right.
People build without the required specifications. People design things for other people who are those quack professionals, right from the land to design of buildings. The proper architect, the qualified architect will not be contacted. The qualified engineer will not be contacted for structural stability. The quantity surveyor will not be brought in to give the cost of the structure, and then people build. And we are building in a disorderly manner, as I indicated earlier. And it is a recipe for disaster because most of the structure that is here are very short.
A recipe for disaster indeed. Many thanks, Osai. We'll leave it here for now and perhaps find a more appropriate time to discuss this further. But I still have Nana Akwada over the other line. Nana Akwada is a executive director for the Bureau of Public Safety. And Nana, I remember that when this happened and we spoke, your fear was that this might just be a talk shop. And obviously it seems to have been just a talk shop. Is there hope for the situation?
Well, basically, if you talk about hope, I'm naturally a very optimistic fellow, and so I think that there is hope, and we shall see that hope in our time. But we must get a lot more, let me call that developmental broadcasting from the side of the journalists, because somehow you are the fourth realm of the estate, and we count on you a lot to push the people that we have put in power to deliver on their mandate. We live in a country where, as I speak with you, by close of day today, not less than 6 people would perish on our roads, okay? And yet we also don't care, devoting airtime, airwave, peak time, prime time radio, prime time television to what one politician said or what the other politician did not say. We must be able to move on and hold people accountable to deliver on the mandate that we have given them. And probably just a little word of advice to my senior fellow who just left us, that probably it's not just enough to group together and form associations or professional bodies. We must also move beyond that level into forming code of ethics. We must move into beyond that level into getting the government to deliver onto such professional bodies, governmental charters, statutory charters, so that these agencies or professional institutes will have a teeth to bite. As we speak, we have the Ghana Medical Association. Sorry, I have to pick on them in this manner. Sitting there, and then any doctor can run amok, and they say that they don't have the mandate to withdraw his license from performing. That is disaster for this country. And as a public safety advocate, I think we must move beyond that as a nation. Why should it not be possible for, say, the Institute of Surveyors and Engineers to sanction a surveyor who is associated to a project that has gone bad? Why should it not be possible for the Institute of Engineers and Surveyors to disband or ban a member who has, not practiced according to the ethics, so that we leave room for developers to dictate sometimes for such professionals, because they also need a job. But if I know that if I'm going to do this job and I don't do a very good job, in the next few days, if something bad happens, I may lose my job, they will stand their ground, and developers or entrepreneurs will not have a choice. So it's very, very important that we look at all of these for these professional bodies, even set benchmarks. And the most important thing is that government cannot do it all. So government should not be high-handed in delivering charters to such bodies.
Right. Thank you very much, Nana.
Thank
Nana
you.
Akwada is Executive Director for the Bureau of Public Safety. But we're not done with the issue. Over the telephone again is Deputy Public Relations Officer of the Ghana National Fire Service. And hello, Billy.
Hello.
Billy, many thanks for your time. A year on from this disaster, and we're looking at issues arising from this a year on. We recall that some rescuers from outside the country were brought in. What lessons were in there for the fire service?
Well, actually, we will see that those rescuers that were brought in to assist the Ghana National Fire Service came in actually to assist us during the rescue exercise, it was the Ghana National Fire Service that has started the rescue exercise. With the basic tools that we have to rescue people, we'll be able to rescue almost everybody alive. Those that will have to rescue alive will be able to rescue those people alive. But those that died, they died because of the injury that they sustained, because of the slump and other things that fell on them. And when those people came outside from Israel to assist, of course, they came with some of the equipment that they were using to determine where people, other bodies were lying. We were doing those determinants by trying to go under the buildings, the remains of the buildings, and to determine if people were in there. But they have the technology that they were using to determine at radius if there are people that are in. So with the skills and the technology that they have, the difference is the equipment that they have, and we were doing those manuals. Based on what has actually happened, we have been able to move a step ahead to improve on our training, to improve on our skills, and we have sent people even outside. As I'm talking, there were people that even came from U.S. just yesterday, firemen who came from U.S. just yesterday, who have gone to improve their training and skills in rescue exercise, and then they are in. So we are even going ahead to ensure that other people that are here will be trained locally to augment our efforts in trying to rescue people in case of any eventuality.
Now, in writing a report for this particular disaster, what were some of the recommendations the Ghana National Fire Service made?
In terms of the disaster, the Mekong disaster.
Right.
Yeah, what we even recommended is that at the time of rescue, we saw that there were some of the people who died who have been out of the premises if they were to have adequate exit, and then the type of design that they have if we were to conform to safety measures put in place and facilities. Most of those people who died will have been out of the premises. So we recommended that every building must be taken into consideration in the designing to determine the occupancy level of the premises as against the number of exits that are made might be made to these premises, against the distance travel of a place of work and a place of probably, if it is going to be an accommodation or for somebody or maybe a hotel or something, then you determine where somebody will be sleeping and then somebody will be out of the premises. So we are looking at exit. We are looking up for distance of safety where emergency situation should happen. People should not run at a long distance before they get to comparative safety points. So there were a lot of recommendations that we made, and we even recommended that people should have within their premises, especially commercial premises, people trained into safety levels to determine and to be able to understand evacuation procedures so that in case of any emergency, they will be able to assist people within the premises. You agree with me that in case of any emergency, it could be fire, it could be anything, people begin to panic, and instead of them trying to ensure that they evacuate themselves out of the premises, they rather try to even run towards where the danger is. So there are people that need to be trained into evacuation procedures to let people follow evacuation procedures. So these are some of the recommendations that we have made.
But based on these recommendations, based on the recommendations given, from where you sit, how has this shaped safety measures in public buildings, if they adhered to them at all?
Yes, I wouldn't say everybody is adhering to these safety measures. There are certain premises that now we are talking. The occupancy load exceeds the number of exits that they have. You get into certain commercial premises. Come again?
Such as?
Well, I will not be able to mention some of those premises now, but I'm talking in general. And then you get to certain premises, you do not even have a directional sign that you will show that in case of emergency, this is where you exit. You do not have to go to this direction. You do not have to use lifts in case of certain fire outbreak or other emergency.
And that is why today, as we are talking, we have just finished stakeholders meeting. We have called all other stakeholders today that we met with them. We let them understand that each and every stakeholder has a contribution to make in terms of providing safety for people, providing protection for people, and then our investment, and then the environment as a whole. So we just finished stakeholders meeting to let each and every stakeholder. If it comes to safety, if it comes to fire prevention, there are a whole lot of stakeholders that we look out for.
Billy, we'll leave it here for now. Prince
Thank
Billy
you,
Anaglate is Deputy Public Relations Officer of the Ghana National Fire Service. We've been talking a year on after the Malcolm Shopping Center disaster. This is News Today. I'll be right back.
I'll take care of you. All it takes is letting go. I'll always be by your side. It's only when you do that you truly win. Wipe away your tears. I'll be your best friend. That's when you experience the magic of each moment. Like it's the first time. All it takes is letting go. A great man once said, the world is won by those who let go. At Star Assurance, we take care of the things you care about, so you're free to be all you can be. Let go and let Star. Talk to us today. Star Assurance, your solid partner.
The Advertisements Rice Festival 2013 is here again. The Paramount Chief O.C. Ajatekpo VII and the Chief of Advertisement Traditional Area invites all sons and daughters and the general public to this year's Amu Festival, which takes place at Advertisement Jogbapoma in Volta region. The celebration is under the theme United and Development in Advertisement through Rice Culture and Ecotourism. This long week event starts on Sunday 3rd to 10th November 2013. Major activities include cultural display, visit to tourist sites, football gala, free medical screening, puberty rites, and the crowning of Miss Amu 2013. There will be a grand debate of chiefs and people of Advertisement Traditional Area on Saturday 9th November 2013. Guest of honor, His Excellency former President Jerry John Rawlings. Come, be a part of this great celebration from Sunday 3rd to Sunday 10th November 2013. Amu Fest, Jogbapoma 2013.
Graft Foundation, in collaboration with Ghana Health Service, is offering free reconstructive plastic surgery repairs for the needy in the central and western regions of Ghana at the Ifiam Kwanta Regional Hospital from the 6th to the 14th of December 2013. Anomalies that will be attended to include cleft lip and palate, post-bend contractures, giant male scrotums, fused fingers and toes, tumors, and swellings. Register at all district and regional hospitals in the central and western regions of Ghana for free. To support this worthy cause, donate to Graft Foundation, Ghana Commercial Bank account number 114-113-000-9080. Osun, call us on 020-466-4000 or visit us at www.graftfoundation.org for more information. Graft Foundation, bringing hope to the hopeless.
Welcome back to News Today. President of Imani Ghana, Franklin Kujo, has called on government to publish details of the contract for the 5,000-unit affordable housing project that is being sponsored by the Brazilian government under the Construtora OAS, a Brazilian construction firm. According to Kujo, there are no proper details for the housing project. He's asking, how do you cut a sort of a project that you don't even know the price? You have no details about the project. He also questioned the rationale behind the abandonment of the other housing projects started by past governments. Imani Ghana president's aide there are 5,000 other units and that have been abandoned by the Kufuor administration as well as the Mills administration, adding he would have thought that in keeping with the local content quality, we would continue with the abandoned housing projects. Kujo also questioned whether this project is part of the 2013 budget or the 2014 budget. President Mahama on Wednesday cut short for the construction of 5,000 affordable housing units across the country for low and middle income earners. Priced at $26 each ahead of its debut on the New York Stock Exchange on Thursday. Now that is above the $23 to $25 range announced on Monday and values the short messaging service at more than $18 billion. Now that makes it the biggest market debut for a technology firm since Facebook went public in May 2012. Twitter has attracted 230 million users, which includes you and I, since starting 7 years ago. But it is yet to make a profit. Its losses for the third quarter of 2013 increased to $64.6 million from $21.6 million a year earlier. And a recent poll by Reuters showed that more than a third of registered users do not use the service at all. Rashida Baba Kadiri brings us sports news after this.
Thanks for making time to listen to the sports segment or to watch the sports segment on News Today with me, Rashida Baba Kadiri. Sports on News Today is proudly brought to you by Tigo. Smile, you've got Tigo. Now we begin from the stables of the Black Stars of Ghana, who might just be lucky to get a change of venue as they go play Egypt in the second leg final playoff ahead of Brazil 2014. Now, FIFA says it is reconsidering the request by the Ghana Football Association to change the venue to a neutral grounds.
He is reconsidering its decision to allow Egypt to host their World Cup tie against Ghana in Cairo this month after protest by government. President John Dramani Mahama early this week asked Blatter to examine the decision carefully in the wake of growing violence in the North African country ahead of the second leg of the playoff to the World Cup. Ghana legend Abedi Pele also spoke to Blatter this week after Sports Minister Elvis Afriyie Ankra had written to FIFA over the decision to approve the match for Cairo. The FA's request to have the match moved to a neutral venue on security grounds was rejected by FIFA, which informed the sports minister's decision to request an urgent meeting with FIFA to discuss the issue in the wake of the political and social unrest in Egypt since President Mohamed Morsi was overthrown by the military. FIFA now says it's looking carefully at the decision to allow Egypt to play the game at the Air Defense Stadium. Sepp Blatter also revealed that he wants to get rid of World Cup qualifying playoff ties in future, insisting the playoffs are a hard way for teams to miss out on the finals. 20 teams plus host Brazil have qualified for next year's tournament via round-robin groups. The remaining 11 places will be decided this month, all in two-legged playoffs. 5 matches will be played in Africa between runners-up from the 10 second-round groups.
Let's go to Europe now and catch a glimpse of some matches that were played last night in the UEFA Champions League.
A big challenge with potentially big rewards. Borussia Dortmund threatened first though. Neven Subotic came close to giving them the lead. They had an even better chance soon after. Henrik Mkhitaryan wasted it. Dortmund continued to press in the second half. Jakub Błaszczykowski denied by Szczesny. Marco Reus denied by the offside flag. Then Arsenal responded and stunned Dortmund.
What a chance and an Arsenal goal! Aaron Ramsey pops up and Arsenal leading Dortmund.
Dortmund could have equalised moments later. Reus fluffed his lines. He was almost punished when Olivier Giroud found Ramsey. Weidenfeller in the right place. Weidenfeller was involved again when he challenged Laurent Koscielny. Referee Bjorn Kuipers gave a goal kick, much to Arsene Wenger's frustration. That frustration turned to joy on full time. A famous victory for Arsenal. Darmeshet, Sky Sports.
From their opening 3 games, but took the lead through Andre Ayew. Napoli responded with 2 goals in 3 minutes. Gökhan Inler made it 1-1 in the 22nd minute.
Now Inler. That's a stunning volley from Gökhan Inler. And Napoli are back on level terms with a goal of the highest quality.
And then, after 25 minutes, Gonzalo Higuain put Napoli ahead. Marseille equalised with just under half an hour to go. Florian Thauvin making it 2-2. Napoli, though, scored again 10 minutes later. Higuain, second of the game, and the Italian side all 3 points. So Arsenal stay top of Group F, but Napoli now up to second after that victory over Marseille. Next up for Arsenal, it's a home tie against Marseille before what looks like to be a decisive final game at Napoli on December the 11th.
Schalke had an early chance, but Adam Salah's effort went wide. At the other end, André Schürrle's free kick was parried away by the Schalke keeper, Timo Hildebrand. But then Hildebrand made a massive blunder. Under pressure from Eto'o. He panicked, kicked the ball straight at the striker, and it rebounded into the net. Chelsea were ahead. Eto'o extended the lead early in the second half. He was replaced by Demba Ba, who made it 3-0.
His first Champions League goal. Chelsea's third on the night, and they're heading for a third straight win in the Champions League.
They went ahead in the 17th minute through their leading goalscorer, Federico Pivacari. But with a minute remaining, Giovanni Sao earned Basel a point. So Chelsea extend their lead at the top of the group to 3 points. If they win their next match in Basel, they will guarantee qualification for the last 16. Best of the first half chances. First, Stefano Densville had his free kick saved by Fraser Forster. And then 10 minutes later, Siem de Jong came close, but Forster again made the save. And just over 5 minutes into the second half, Ajax went in front.
Oh, it's opened up here for Schürrle! Wonderfully worked! A pivotal moment in the game and in the group. Ajax have the lead.
The La Liga leaders awarded a penalty after Neymar was brought down. Then on Messi. Messi took it and scored. Less than 10 minutes later, it was 2-0. Xavi with a free kick met by Sergio Busquets. AC Milan did pull a goal back. Gerard Piqué knocking this one in his own net. Less than 10 minutes to go. Barca made it 3-1.
Messi. Fabregas. Messi. Magnificent!
So Barcelona are through. Celtic do still have an outside chance of claiming second spot, but they will need other results to go their way.
It only took 10 minutes for Atletico Madrid to score. Vienna failed to clear a corner, and centre-back Miranda was there to give them the lead. And they went further ahead when Diego Costa set up Raúl Garcia.
That's a brilliant one from Raúl Garcia.
And in the final minute of the first half, Adrian Lopez's shot was saved, but Felipe Luis was there to make it 3-0 to Atletico. With 15 minutes to go, Atletico was given a penalty when substitute Christian Rodriguez was brought down by Austria Vienna captain Manuel Ortlechner. Costa took it, but was denied by Heinz Linder. But 8 minutes from full time, Garcia set up Costa, and he made it.
Right, so stay tuned to all the platforms on Joy Sports on radio, on TV, and online as we bring you details of the sports minister, Elvis Efiye Anko's meeting in Monaco on the International Conference on Peace and Sports. And but if FIFA indeed will listen to the plea of Ghana, of the government of Ghana, to indeed reconsider the venue for the Ghana-Egypt game, the second leg, final playoff ahead of Brazil 2014. Sports on News Today is proudly brought to you by Tigo. Smiley.
You're welcome back. Now let's check out some international news and make a first stop in Nigeria, where President Goodluck Jonathan has extended the ongoing state of emergency in Adamawa, Borno and Yobe states by additional 6 months. The Islamic extremist uprising, which began in 2009 has killed thousands, poses the biggest threat in decades to the security and cohesion of Africa's biggest oil producer and its most populous nation. Ibrahim Ilbad is an analyst. We are going to look at the situation of Nigeria and Boko Haram. He's a Middle Eastern expert. Hello, Ilbad.
Hello, good afternoon, Kevin.
Good afternoon to you too. But the Nigeria situation now, an emergency the emergency has been extended by 6 months more. Are we losing the fight against Boko Haram?
And Kemeni, this unfortunately means that the conflict has not abated. It has rather exacerbated the plight of the ordinary people of northern Nigeria. In a state of emergency, innocent people get arrested arbitrarily and people get detained without parole. But you can't blame Goodluck Jonathan too much. What else can he do? His hands are tied. He can't exude weakness in the face of the most serious threat to Nigeria's national security. But in looking at the need for an extension, let's quickly assess what the first state of emergency has achieved. First of all, it's a fact, and we should all embrace it, that the ubiquity of Nigerian security forces in the north has denied Boko Haram a safe haven, and that is positive. And then the death and detention of Boko Haram field commanders have taken some of their fighters off the battlefield. But these few positives are dwarfed in the face of myriad negatives of the state of emergency. Economic activity has ground to a halt in the north because telecommunications lines have been all severed, and the Boko Haram fighters seem to have adapted in the past 6 months, and they've become unusually buoyant and emboldened. I'll give you a typical example. On the 16th of October, they attacked the sprawling city of Damaturu. It is in the Yobe state. And in the process, they overran an army barracks and bent down four police buildings. And then the formation of armed vigilante groups called the Civilian Joint Task Force may, in the final analysis, come back to haunt Nigeria, because these are ordinary people who have been armed to protect their various vicinities. So you are imparting upon them some level of military expertise. And when the dust finally settles on the conflict, does Nigeria have the resources to channel their military expertise into something productive, or they also turn their guns on the state? And then finally, Boko Haram attacks have also shifted from military targets to soft spots, like schools, churches, and hospitals. On the 29th of September, they attacked a Greek college and bent down up to 50 students. So I think Nigeria lost the boat quite too early in the conflict. In 2009, the heavy-handed approach they adopted in tackling the Boko Haram phenomenon seemed to have backfired. They cordoned off the north and killed many innocent people. And these people who are fighting thrive upon 4 basic issues. One is the religious zealotry they have. And the northern part of the country is dominated by Muslims. And number 2, they exploit the killing of innocent people to galvanize the rest of the local population against the Nigerian security forces. And therefore, if you hand them public sympathy, then it means they use that and feed their rumor mill that the fight is against the religion rather than against a small band of people who are against the state. And then number 3, they seem to have a lot of money at their disposal as well. And therefore, they are able to recruit new young people. They are able to fund their operations as well. So I empathize with Goodluck Jonathan. I really do not find an end in sight to this. And the only option he has is to continue fighting so that perhaps it is hoped that he will crush the dissidents in the north.
I know over time you've said, the way we're dealing with these extremists is dialogue. In the situation of Nigeria, would you call for same?
Nigeria's case is not a quintessential example of the success of dialogue. Goodluck Jonathan tried it a bit. He set up a committee for amnesty and peace building in the north. But unfortunately, those people who were in charge betrayed Boko Haram operatives. You see, when you dialogue with an amorphous group, that is not conventional. They do things surreptitiously. So there were times in the past they were told that there was a meeting place for dialogue, and they would send their middle tier commanders. And when they went there, the security forces would just pounce on them and then tell international media that they have captured a high-level Boko Haram operative. So they've recoiled into their shell. They've shrunk back into the mountains and the countryside, and they don't want to talk any longer. So they want to continue the fight, and therefore Goodluck Jonathan does not have any option than an escalation of the conflict so that he completely decimates Boko Haram in the north.
We'll leave it here for now, Irbad. Irbad is a political Islam and international news analyst. We'll move on to some other stories. And rap doctor Ochiame Kwame has successfully backed the first of 16 African artists. He is hoping to collaborate with, his African Connection album. He was speaking to Showbiz after the video shoot for the Try One More Time track with Nigeria's Jay Martins.
Ochiame Kwame, popularly referred to as the rap doctor, described the shoot with his Nigerian counterpart as stressful.
We went to this park, and the floor is very grimy, so baby is by the jeep, and then he is controlling it, and I'm supposed to slide along, and the floor is rugged, so it makes it difficult. Getting the right equipment, getting the right dancers, right costume, all that is tedious.
Meanwhile, he says his Mr. Versatile has been postponed to next year due to financial constraints.
This year, the Versatile show has been pushed to early next year. Straight reason, because all our sponsors say they've exhausted their budget. And last year, I sponsored the program from my pocket. I lost a lot of money. Actually, people went home with spasms of my Range Rover in their head.
He says the video for the Try Another Time song would be premiered this November.
A recap of our headlines. And survivors of Malcolm disaster expressed disappointment in authorities a year after disaster claimed 14 lives. President of Imani, Ghana, calls on government to publish details of the contract for the 5,000-unit affordable housing project. Nigerian President Goodluck Jonathan extends ongoing state of emergency in Adamawa, Bono, and Yobe states by additional 6 months. My name is Kemini Nyamani Amano. Thanks for your company. Goodbye.